There we go.
And we are live, people. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Gunman Podcast, episode number 85, live. And I got a hell of a show for you today. And joining me is Felipe Hemming, son of Gerald Patrick Hemming. How you doing, sir?
Super.
And also Scott Kaiser, son of Edwin Kaiser. How you doing, sir?
Fine, thank you.
Now, guys, we've had a lot of requests to have you guys on the show and to talk it out, hug it out, and when it's all over with, we can get around the campfire and sing Kumbaya together. Now, I know there's been some animosity, and it's been brewing for a little while, so I figured what better way than to talk it out, and we can give each guy, time to make their case or whatever, and refute each other. And I know you guys have had a problem with each other for a while. So, Philippe, why don't you go ahead and start us off? What is your beef, sir?
Well, it's not necessarily a beef. It's the fact that Kaiser's made multitudes of allegations, accused at one point in time. The only reason why it came to my radar was because he made an allegation that my father had something to do with his father's untimely death. And he tries to put that off on A.J. Weberman, saying this and saying that. A.J. is not saying that to the world. He may have said that to Kaiser, and Kaiser may have repeated it, but instead of just asking somebody and doing some investigation to find out what the truth was, he just ran with it and kept on typing away and saying it occurred. But that's not the case. So the facts are, the ship was in dry dock. His father had been warned time and time again not to walk across scuttles with plywood on it, and he happened to walk across a scuttle with plywood, and he fell and he died. I mean, my father had nothing to do with the untimely death of Edwin Kaiser.
Okay, all right. Now, Scott, what do you guys say about it from your perspective? What have you heard? What do you know?
What do I know? That I never said. First of all, let me clear a few things up. Hemming told me, not Hemming, but A.J. Weberman told me that Hemming knew about the death of my father, and that's exactly what I put out there. That he knew the death of my father. I've always said that Frank Sturgis is the one who killed my father. Right. I've never said Hemming killed my father. So I don't know where Hemming is getting this. He's Hemming gets off on the wrong foot at the wrong time, and he's always at the wrong place. Sure. He seems to think that I said that his father killed my father when he just jumps to conclusions. And then he talks about facts, and then I ask him about facts, and he can't provide any facts. He doesn't prove any facts.
That's not true. That's
now, Philippe,
Scott.
I'm looking you dead in your eye, buddy, and I'm telling you right now that
you're looking at a computer screen, Scott. You're not looking me dead in the eye. You're looking at a computer screen right fucking here.
Listen, if this was virtual TV, I'd bitch slap you. Now listen to me.
No, you wouldn't.
I'm telling you that I said that your father may have known something. That's what I've always said. But I've always admitted
your face
just killed my father.
Right here.
Okay.
That'll be your face. You put your hand anywhere near me. See this? It'll be right up against your face. You're not going to do nothing to me. I fear no man, and I surely don't feel no 5 nothing, 100 nothing pound, no teeth having fool. So can we start this?
Listen,
that's my first beef for this guy.
Take the shit out of your ears and listen to me. I said your father knew about my father's murder. I always said that Frank Sturgis killed my dad.
Murder? It's a workman's comp claim. He stepped on a scuttle. He fell through a hole. Who wanted him dead?
Listen to me. Shut the pie hole for a minute. You said you have facts.
Nothing in this pie hole but pie.
My father was told time and time again not to walk across the boards. Now, what facts do you have? Prove them. What facts do you have that you say my father was told not to walk across the board? Shut your pie hole and listen to me. What facts do you have?
Let's see. What was this, 2006, maybe 2005? You reached out, contacted my father, trying to figure out what was up with your dad. My dad told you.
I tried to contact your dad, and I got your sister.
No. You have a faulty memory, Scott. Because
I don't have a faulty memory.
Maybe all them paint fumes from when you were painting houses and stuff that you don't remember what's going on.
So I'm sorry that I just missed your dad's untimely death. What did he die of? A heart attack?
He was an old guy. People die. Old people die. That happens.
Right?
What's
that? He would have gotten a cap in his ass in Miami.
Dude, whatever. This is you.
Be quiet. Okay, next question. Okay.
Polydent, bro. Yeah, take them out.
See that? Real teeth, baby.
Take them gums. Yeah, take them choppers.
See that?
Out. Take out them choppers. Take that chopper out. Take it out. Take it out. Take it out.
Yeah, I look good, baby. I just look good.
Yeah, so does a fresh pile of shit.
Yeah, okay.
All right, let's go. I got better things to do than listen to some gum-tooth asshole.
Baby, I float like a butterfly and sting like a bee, but Hemming, you're going down in 3.
Yeah, all this.
Let's do this. Next question.
All right. So, Felipe, for those out there who don't know, you know, your dad was Gerald Patrick Hemming, who has associations with folks that were possibly involved with the assassination of John Kennedy. I don't believe personally that you know your dad was involved in the actual assassination.
Nope.
And Scott, of course, you know your dad had information associations with people too, especially in the anti-Castro community. So
let me put it to you this way: my dad knew everybody while Hemming's dad was running away from everybody.
Oh, this is going nowhere.
Okay. Let me just put it to you that way.
Well, Scott, tell us exactly what your father was involved in, you know, associated with the assassination.
I'll tell you exactly what my father was involved in. My father impersonated every 3-letter agency you can think of, including an officer as a lieutenant in the United States Army. He impersonated people. Okay?
Okay.
And this is exactly what he did. He impersonated people, he infiltrated companies, and he stole from the government. His first government theft was in 1960 or 61 when he was dealing with Operation Willow Freeze. In Operation Willow Freeze, he was stealing fuel out of tankers. And then he found this overturned vehicle on Highway Route 161 or somewhere out there in Alaska. And he stole 2 M2 carbines, he stole food, he stole clothing, he stole everything. What he would do is he would go moose hunting and kill caribou and moose, and he would trade this moose meat in for fuel, and he would deal with the Army personnel up in Alaska. After he got out of Alaska and he moved down to Miami, he got himself reacquainted with Frank Sturgis. When he first met Frank Sturgis in November of 1962. At that time, they met Navarro at Navarro's house, Frank Sturgis, and apparently this Lee could be Lee Harvey Oswald. Now, we don't know yet. I'm still digging into it, and I'm trying to fully search who this Lee is because I've got 2 identifications of Lee.
And this is when he was supposed to be in Russia?
Who?
Lee.
He doesn't know.
Lee wasn't in Russia in November of 62.
Scott, this is one thing about Scott.
This is
he'll claim to know something as fact. Lee was not actuality. Scott, answer this question. How old are you when your father died?
13.
13. So you're telling me your father entrusted you with all this stuff at 13 years old?
Me with what stuff?
All this knowledge you claim to have.
What are you saying that he entrusted me with?
Well, you're the one who said that he recorded Frank when he was drunk. He had his briefcase, the M2 carbines at one point in time you said were used in the Kennedy assassination. All this stuff that I remember because you said it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Of course you don't.
You need to. Why don't you listen to this? And I'm glad it's being recorded. Okay. First of all,
let's not talk about Scott's dad. In 1958, my father went to Cuba to help fight with Castro and Che to overthrow Batista. My father was not a thief, was not involved in stealing shit or killing moose or ripping people off. He went and served there to help the Cuban people to become free. And then when Castro came to the States and was treated like a second-class citizen by Eisenhower and Nixon, that's why he went to Khrushchev, and that's why Khrushchev and the communists got involved in Cuba. Prior to that, that wasn't going to happen. So after that situation happened, my father came back from Cuba, and this whole Oswald deal started showing up.
Why don't you talk about the Palladium? Because your father was selling arms that didn't work, selling guns that didn't fire.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. We're not even there, Scott. Why are you jumping so far ahead? That's not Parabellum. Parabellum was Marine. I don't even go into there, dude. That has nothing to do with this conversation, and it's not true.
Okay, listen to me.
That's not true. You're repeating stuff. You're repeating stuff. A third party that wasn't involved in anything there. You were not around. None of that was around. You're repeating something some nephew of some other dude told you, which is nonsense.
Skunk face. How old are you? How old are you?
Just a little bit younger than you.
Okay. And you're going to tell me I wasn't there?
No, I know you weren't there. I don't know. You know who's Anselmo Allegro? You ever met Anselmo Allegro? You know who that is?
I don't even care.
No, because you don't know, because he was involved in Parabellum. You know Angelo Kennedy, Angelo Magano?
When it started, until your dad took it away from him.
Not true. Not true. Not true.
Dude, I wish I could play a Rolando Mansferrer recording right now.
Rolando Masferrer's nephew. Rolando Masferrer's nephew. Not Rolando Masferrer.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
It does matter. Just like you repeating what you said as a child, it's the same thing this guy's saying as a child. It's unreliable information.
You know your dad's story through your father.
What's that?
Okay, Rolando Masferrer knows his story through his uncle.
Right.
I know my story through my father almost 8 years ago. Okay, my father played a recorded conversation that he had with Frank Sturgis saying that Frank was a part of the Kennedy assassination.
Sure he
did. Now, yeah, he did.
Sure.
I'm telling you, I'm looking you dead in the eye and I'm telling you, Frank
admitted
it.
After lie after lie.
Let me tell you something about Frank. Frank liked to brag a lot. Frank loved to brag about the things he could do and the things that he did. Okay?
Where's all these other people saying this happened?
Don't fault me. Listen, don't fault me for my father playing me a tape. Okay? That's what he did. Okay? No. That's not my fault.
I don't know why you're yelling.
Because you're not listening.
No, I'm listening to you loud and clear, dude. I'm listening.
Okay, I'm telling you straight up. Just because my father played me a tape, it's not my fault.
Whatever, man. I'm telling you. Find me somebody else besides you that says this about Frank. That's not what Frank's known for. Frank's not known for running his mouth. I don't know why all of a sudden he became a totally different person in the presence of you.
I've known him since I was 5 years old.
Sure.
This is a guy I used to call Uncle Frank that used to come over to my house all the time.
Yeah.
What do you know about Frank? He was there every single day prior to Watergate recruiting my dad.
Sure.
What do you know about Frank?
Sure.
What do you know about Frank?
Sure.
Okay.
I know he blamed things on the Russians.
Yep. But he's not known for running his mouth. The only time he ran his mouth was after Watergate. That's the only time Frank ran his mouth. And he was getting ready to run his mouth, and he asked his daughter, and all of a sudden he comes up with cancer and dies. Ask his daughter.
He asked his daughter what?
About what? I thought you were listening.
What did he ask his daughter?
They said you could ask his daughter.
Yeah, I talked to Autumn Sturgis on the phone. I could ask her what? What do you want me to ask her?
I'm saying you can ask his daughter that when Frank really started talking is when Frank started really getting heat back on him. Post-Watergate. That's the only time Frank talked.
No.
It was after Watergate.
No. Him and Jack Anderson had a relationship where he would get Jack Anderson.
Listen to who Jack Anderson is.
Huh?
Who's Jack Anderson?
Everybody knows who Jack Anderson is. Don't be a fool.
Really?
So really? Frank was communicating with Jack Anderson because Jack Anderson was going to give him a full press release on him recapturing Cuba after Watergate. That's what Watergate was about. You don't even know what Watergate was about. Your dad wasn't even involved. So what are you talking about Watergate?
We're talking about Frank, Scott.
Okay.
Is dementia kicking in?
What does Frank have to do with Jack Anderson?
You brought Frank up. You brought Frank up. I'm not talking about Frank. I'm talking about you full of fiction. I can continue about things you were told when you were a child? No?
Rob, go on to the next question, please. This fool just doesn't know anything.
Ooh, why are you calling names? That's usually an indicator when you've lost an argument and you start resulting to names. That's so sad.
No, I didn't lose no argument. I didn't lose an argument. I'm just tired of listening to you always saying that you don't know what you're talking about. You can't prove anything. Rob,
well, you can't prove anything. You can't prove anything.
I can prove everything. Everything I'm
saying. Prove it. I'll sit here and wait.
What do you want me to prove? About your dad, about Frank, about Jack Anderson, or about my dad? What do you want me to prove?
Honestly, I really don't care what you have to say, Scott, because I just label you as a complete fiction.
Rob, go on to the next question, please.
All right, Scott. You talked about your dad having a briefcase containing some pictures. Can you tell everybody about that a little bit?
Well, at the time, before my father had these pictures, he went into the CIA office or CIA headquarters in Miami. He was given a ride there by Rudy Janko. And he impersonated CIA, he impersonated FBI, he impersonated everybody. So as he walked into this office, I don't know how he got these photos. Rudy doesn't know how he got these photos. But these photographs were of Frank Sturgis, they were David Morales, they were of Howard Hunt, they were Bernard Barker, and what the hell's his name? Gordon Liddy. There were 5 pictures. All 5 of these pictures had stamped on the back of 1963. Now, I asked Nino Diaz about these photos. Commander Nino Diaz, who's still alive in Miami, says he distinctly remembers those photos. I asked Rudy Janko about these photos, and I've got him on tape telling me exactly how he took my father to the CIA headquarters in Miami and how my father got a hold of these photos. And they left, and he ended up driving off and showing him these photos in his car. And then he started carrying these photos around in his attaché case, showing them to a lot of Cubans in Miami. Now, this was post-Watergate. This was post-Watergate. Now, I've got a document that also indicates that my father carried these photos around. So this is how I didn't know my father had these photos. It was because of the document that I found that Hemming's going to say that I don't have or that I'm lying about, okay? But no, Hemming, just for a minute, skunk face, please be quiet. Now, because of that document and the word others, my father apparently had other photographs that he was carrying around, but these others weren't identified in that document. And I needed to find out who the word others pertained to. That's where I tracked down Nino Diaz. That's where I tracked down Jose Pujol, Luis Posada, Felix Rodriguez. I talked to all these guys, Frank Castro. All these people worked with my dad. So obviously, if these guys were still alive and my dad was showing these photos around,
Rodriguez,
somebody had to have
where does that come up? How did that come up? Felix Rodriguez,
when I started asking
Luis
all these
Posada.
questions, shut up, skunk face. I'm talking right now. So somebody had to have. Listen.
Bye.
Not third round yet. You're gonna go down in the third. I told you that. Now listen. Pay attention.
You're a fucking bully piece of shit. Shut the fuck up.
To everybody in Miami, asking them if they knew who are these others that my father was carrying around. Everybody, even Eugenio Martinez, told me. It was Bernard.
You're hoping Eugenio dies soon. He's 93 years old, so you can make these fucking claims.
Skunk face.
Dude, you really got to stop this shit, man.
I have them on recording telling me that, and everything's going to come out. I haven't posted. There's a lot of stuff I haven't even posted yet.
Sure.
That is going to make you look very, very dumb.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Scott, these pictures.
Just like the film.
What exactly do they prove? I mean,
nothing.
What do they prove? They just prove that these guys were in Dallas on the day of Kennedy's assassination. That's all they prove.
Oh, so these
they
are
don't
pictures
prove. They don't prove of anybody shooting a gun. They don't prove of anybody delivering any weapons or delivering any money. They don't prove any of that. They just prove that they were hanging outside a motel room in Dallas on the 22nd of November. That's all it proves. Okay. Now, you have to use your imagination Why are they there in Dallas on Kennedy's assassination?
Oh, your imagination.
What are you doing? Are you wanting? You have a problem with making like fish faces, blowing, and you talk about dicks a lot on
Who
Facebook,
said anything about that?
Are you starting to turn on me?
Who said anything about that?
See,
this is typical Scott behavior, automatically talking about imagination, making things up, doing stuff like that. Uh-oh, it's the cops.
Good. Hang on a second.
Come in here. It's your landlord. Why don't you pay your rent?
FBI.
Yeah, ain't no FBI. Would you order pizza?
Thank you.
Yeah, I use my imagination, and come on.
Hey,
you got the Motel 6?
Hey, fat boy, you jealous?
Nope.
Look at that skunk face. Getting you hungry?
Not really.
Yeah, licking your chops. Go ahead. You see, you just licked your chops, didn't you?
No, not really.
Okay. Next question, Rob. Next question.
Is that Dent Your Safe pizza?
This is going to be number 3. This is going to be round number 3. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, okay.
All right, Felipe, let's talk about your dad for a little bit and the supposed allegations that, he was with this caravan, the Sturgis
the
Lorenz
story.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I can't believe you said that. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, at one point in time, Scott was like all about fucking Mark Lorenz and his bullshit story. No, my father wasn't in Dallas. My father was in Miami, November 22nd, 1963. Plain and simple. I don't know what this asshole's laughing for.
I don't know. Must have said a funny joke.
I don't know. Just
okay.
Behavior
Yeah,
of a
I'm
moron.
sorry, man. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. I'm just picturing you and your dad eating some pork chops while you're talking to AJ Weber and 61st grade. Dude, your dad had nothing to do with Kennedy. Your dad had nothing to do with Martin Luther King. Your dad had nothing to do with nothing except running. That's it.
Right. This is see what this is. I don't even know how many books there are now that have credited my father, have interviewed my father, Arrogancy Magazine, Mark Lane, Noel Twyman, Oliver Stone. You keep on going. All these people. You can shut up now, Scott.
Your dad was such a great talker.
Keep talking.
He put so much shit up on the internet and at the education forum that half the shit that I read, I couldn't stop crying because I was laughing so hard.
Right. You're right.
Your dad didn't know half the stuff. The reason why he was under investigation and the reason why he got out of it is because he played CIA hitman that he would tell the CIA that he would go ahead
and talking about somebody you know nothing about.
The court of law, in which, of course, the CIA doesn't want their secrets known.
Right.
So, I mean, your dad wasn't involved in nothing, man.
You're right. You're absolutely right, Scott. You're right. You got me.
What was he involved in?
I'm not saying. I haven't had a chance to talk. You interrupted. You ran your mouth. Rob hasn't. I had a chance to answer the question because you started chiming up with your cackle. Are you done? How about just hold that can to your mouth and shut it? Are you done?
Go.
Are you done? Put your hand over your mouth, like a little girl. Put your hand over your mouth so you shut up. Are you done? Put your hand over your mouth. Put your hand over your mouth. What about Lake Pontchartrain? What about it?
Let's go there. What was your dad doing?
What do you want to go there? What do you want to go?
Let's go there.
For what?
Come on.
For what? What's in Lake Pontchartrain?
When did the CIA stop financing your dad? Wasn't it in 1964?
Let's see. When they stopped financing what?
Wasn't it?
What exactly?
Wasn't this Interpen?
Interpen. This is where we stop. Are you done?
People wanted to play
the record. Stop. Well, you can find the record in the newspaper articles, television interviews, where he went out seeking funding to support anti-Castro operations, to include operations at No Name Key and places like that. So, only thing I see. Okay, this is where I turn Scott off. Are you done? This is a child. Are you done, child? You done with the hand movement? Because this is all documented, Scott. This is all documented, Scott.
Okay.
He continued on the whole relationship began to sour as a result of individuals skimming money off the top during counter drug operations in Central and South America. That's where the relationship really began to sour. And as far as this whole CIA funding stuff and when things stopped, I don't have any direct knowledge of that. I can't even find or have the CIA produce documents that they're in association. And here he goes interrupting again. I'll stop.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you, it's the facts. December 2nd, 1964 is when they stopped. When Interpen finally dissolved. When there was no more.
Oh, it wouldn't have nothing to do with assisting with Garrison with the Kennedy assassination, would it? The thing that kept him from going to Vietnam for working in the State Department, along with Robert K. Brown, the publisher of Soldier of Fortune magazine, that one had nothing to do with it.
The reason why your dad didn't want to go to Vietnam is the reason why he
couldn't go to Vietnam because he was being held back because of the Garrison investigation. The State Department wasn't going to let him go to work for him just to be brought back from Vietnam because of a criminal investigation. Surprise? You know?
Was your dad asked?
You have an inability to rationalize fact over fiction.
Was your father asked to go to Dallas?
Yes, by multiple parties.
Okay, who?
Who? Texas Oil. You ever heard the name Lester Logue? You ever heard that name before?
Who else?
No, you ever heard that name before?
Who else invited your father to go to Dallas on the day of Kennedy's assassination?
Never heard of the name Lester Logue.
No, give me another name.
Okay.
Give me another name.
He was also approached by the mob in Miami, the Italian mob in Miami. He turned both of them down.
Okay. Yeah. Who's the mob in Miami?
It was either Santos Trafficante. Yeah, it was Santos Trafficante's people.
Okay. Now, who else? Anybody else?
No, that's the only people. Those few people I know about. That was talked about in interviews many times.
Okay. Anybody else that you can think of off the top of your head? Anybody else?
Huh?
What about Pedro Diaz-Lanz and his brother Marcos Lanz, who your father specifically points out in many interviews? See, you're full of shit, man.
Okay.
Okay, next question, Rob.
Wow. So whose show is? Whose show is this? Is this a stupid ass Kaiser show or is this Rob's show? Settle your ass down, dumbass.
You just went down in 3, brother. You just went down in 3. Okay. I'll tell you something else.
Go ahead. I'm listening. I'm all ears. I'm listening.
My father and Frank worked with Santos Trafficante.
Right.
Richard Poyle lived across the hall from Santos Trafficante. Richard Poyle with Frank Sturgis on the day my father was killed. You don't know shit. Next question, Rob.
About Rolando Masferrer.
I know all them dudes.
Oh, you do?
Next question, Rob.
Well, I had always believed and felt that the plot kind of originated from a more extreme right-wing perspective.
Right.
And when you look at everything else and who that we can probably say was involved, guys like Lauren Hall,
right.
Hargraves, guys like that. I mean, sure they had associations with Philippe's dad, but I don't think that that he was there. That he might have even been a backup patsy if he had gone. I think.
Hemming?
Yep.
That would have been one huge patsy.
So what is up with that, dude? What is up with this? This is. I mean, I wish I had time to sit here and psychoanalyze this.
Okay, I believe you. I believe you.
Sociopaths right here.
I believe you. Hemming would have been a patsy.
You won't stop talking. Are you done?
Well, look, Scott. They took his rifle to Dallas. There was reports of a 6'7" guy walking down the streets with a rifle. That obviously wasn't his dad. So anything's possible. He was a radar operator in the Marines. I mean,
he's a pilot. So Scott, here's another name for it. I mean, there's several names that these individuals have asked me not to broadcast their name to the general public because they're still alive and they're still working within the government that have talked to people like Joe Castro, that have talked to other people. But I'm not going to out those people like that because they're friends of my family. Now, what you have
Frank
a difficult time understanding.
I'm sure he doesn't mind me using his name. He's a friend of mine. Frank Castro. Do you not? Can you not listen, Frank?
No, I can't hear you.
Turn the volume up in your ears.
I can't hear you. I can't hear a word you're saying. Are you done? Let me know when you're done. Are you done? Are you done? You don't know anything about my father, Scott. You absolutely don't.
Go ahead.
No, you don't.
Go.
You really and truly don't. And you know very little about the Kennedy assassination, and this is what this topic is about the Kennedy assassination. No, my father was not in Dallas November 22nd, 1963. Yes, the job was offered to him on at least two occasions.
How did your dad's gun get there? How did your father's gun get there?
It was brought there.
Huh? Lauren Hall took it there.
Lauren Hall brought it there. Lauren Hall.
Okay.
That weapon was left with a private detective named Hathcock in Los Angeles because he essentially got cash for the weapon so he could travel. You know, that's what these guys were doing. They were trying to finance operations because the books were closed as far as going into Cuba any longer with government support. So they approached private citizens, and that's what they did. There's a large Cuban population in Los Angeles. There's a large Cuban population in Edison, New Jersey, and there's a large Cuban population in Miami. There's Cubans all over the place, and there's a whole group of people that could have potentially been involved in this. The training camp in No Name Key, the people that were there extended themselves for the purpose of freeing Cubans against communism. And that project was not only funded by donations, it was funded also by the United States government. And the biggest enemy in that whole situation was people that wanted to continue turmoil. People like J. Edgar Hoover, Allen Dulles. They wanted this whole process to continue going because that's where they made their money. They made their money because of their association with the military-industrial complex. War is big money. You create instability, you create a opportunity to make money. And the situation that I believe where Frank and your dad and people like that, where they saw an honest operation running and an opportunity to insert themselves to steal money because that was never going to be used in Cuba, never going to be used to fight communism, never at all. There's FBI documentation of money being given to your father and a Cadillac being given to your father to transport to New York. And what does he do? He doesn't show up. And then when he does show up, he's drunk as hell and doesn't have the money. That's documented fact. So you can run all your mouth about what this is and what that is. The documents prove completely different. You know, if he didn't know what was going on, then why did he testify at the House Select Committee on Assassinations in the 1970s? Why did Garrison bring him into the fold for the purpose of the investigation? If he didn't know anything and if he wasn't anywhere, what, you think he bullshitted his way into this? You're crazy. You think he wanted to be part of this shit? There's newspaper clippings and television interviews where he was out there trying to drain revenue for the purpose of fighting communism. That's what he was involved in, was fighting fighting communism in Central and South America.
Who?
Are you an owl?
Yeah. Are you talking about your dad or my dad?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Who are you talking about?
Yeah. Where you been?
Did somebody just drop a quarter on you?
You ever heard the name Dick Hathcock?
You haven't shut up and come up for air in the last 5 minutes. First of all, you don't know nothing about the trip. You don't know nothing about the Cadillac. You don't know nothing about nothing.
Right.
Okay.
I had the FBI
First of all,
reports.
it was listen to me. I'm going to correct you on this. Okay. It was Wilfredo Navarro's
your dad told
car.
you when you were 13 years old.
I let you talk. Now shut your trap and listen. Okay. It was Wilfredo Navarro's car that Wilfredo Navarro gave my father, that my father abandoned in New York. He got drunk there, and he didn't form a press rally like Navarro wanted. Okay, so he abandoned Navarro's car there, and he came back from New York. Okay, the Cadillac came in from the slew of drug money that now I'm not going to mention any names, who my father was working with, because there's drugs coming in from Cuba and from motherships that these little small boats would go up to the mothership and bring the. Listen, don't make a weird face. Listen to me now.
You're
Listen,
fucking
I'm gonna get to that point.
shit.
I'm gonna get to the Cadillac.
Where is this coming
Listen
from?
to me. You're not.
Motherships.
Listen. Are you gonna make weird faces all day long?
Never heard some shit like that.
Look, listen.
More
I'm gonna
fantasy.
call you Brillo head because that's what you look like. As a damn Brillo.
Right. Name calling.
SOS
Name
pad,
calling.
you know,
The
you need
sign
help.
of someone losing an argument is when they result to name calling.
Okay, my father ended up putting $15,000 down on the house. My father bought a house. My father bought my mom a brand new car, a Buick. My father had a Cadillac. That was all funded through the drugs that were coming in from Cuba. It's all documented. Didn't you read that part? You didn't read that part?
No. What documents?
Dude, you don't know nothing. You know nothing of nothing. Okay?
You're right. All right, because it's all
the person that I mentioned a little while ago.
There was no drugs being imported from anywhere in 1960.
Did you know that my father was even
South America?
Did you know that my father was a part of Coro? You know what?
There was no drugs being brought in from Cuba.
Listen,
no
this is much bigger than Interpen. Have you heard of Coro? C-O-U-R? That my father was in that group.
Okay.
Do you know that group? Do you know who that group is? No, you don't. And no, I'm not going to mention names.
Shut up.
Yeah, you don't know nothing. There's a lot of things out there that people don't know about.
Right, because they're in your head, because they're fantasy.
Yeah.
Because you're fucking making shit up as you go along. There was no drugs being imported from Cuba. Show me documentation of this. Okay. Where's this at? Where's this documentation that motherships from Cuba and people smuggling anything from Cuba except people? What? Where's this at?
Hey, Rob, is there a way I can upload a document on this thing?
Sure. Absolutely.
Just to shut this guy's mouth up? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to specifically find that document, and I'm going to post it. I'll post it on Facebook just to embarrass you. Let me get back to where I am.
It's not going to embarrass me.
Oh, yeah, it'll embarrass you because you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
You're right. I don't. No, I have no idea.
It's just that simple. It's that plain and simple. You don't know what the hell you're talking about.
You're right. Right. I'm not the one trying to sell a book as fact when it's 100%.
Have I even mentioned my book in this whole damn interview? Brillo head, SOS. You need help, dude.
Right. Again.
On to the next question, Rob, because this dude needs help.
Well, I'm not sure where to go. I mean, I just wanted to let you guys resolve your issues or have it out and
resolve. There's no resolving with this guy.
Yeah.
He's a complete idiot.
Well, I mean, I see, it goes both ways, I'm sure. I mean,
yeah, it does. It goes both ways. Absolutely.
Philippe, do you feel a little better knowing that Scott doesn't believe that your father killed his father anymore?
Oh, we worked that out. We worked out before. That was just the start of this interaction with
I told him that before, Rob.
I wasn't running with that. I was describing how I even discovered that this guy existed.
I told this guy, and when he called me on the phone, I told him, your father had nothing to do with my father's death.
That's not true.
I said, now, maybe your father may have known something, and that was the reason and the purpose of me trying to find him and locate him and ask him some questions. Now, when I did call him, it was back in, I think, 2012, or not him, but his sister. I think it was, 2009. It might have been 2009 or 2010. And that's when Dolores told me her dad had just passed away. Now, the reason I called to find Hemming is to find out if he knew anything about my father's murder and to ask him some questions. And the first person I got in touch with was Dolores. Now, Dolores, I think, contacted this bozo and probably said all kinds of things about me. And so then he started calling me out on Facebook. And then he called me at my house. There was a time where, I had to hang up on him because the dude would call me like 15 times in 5 minutes. And so finally I finally decided to talk to him. And when I heard his scraggly, whiny voice, he talks very fast. And he wouldn't shut up. So when I let him say what he had to say, I let him finish, and then I told him, your dad had nothing to do with my father's murder. And I told him that over the phone months ago. and I said, I just wanted
Months
to know
ago.
if you.
But this interaction started back in 2008 or 2009. How you can't even get your lies straight, Scott. This is not what happened. You were saying this up until a few years ago, that my father had something to do with your father's accidental death. No one murdered your father. Your father died by accident. No, there's no murder investigation. There's no nothing. Your father fell through a scuttle on a ship and dry dock. No matter how you spin it, no matter how you want to think is what it was, that's not what happened. And you can't get your lies straight, and that's what the problem is. So this is what it is. You didn't like the fact that someone told you that your father had nothing to do with anything, and he was a hanger-oner. He tried to insert himself into situations so he could stand to make a profit off of honest people trying to fight communism in Cuba. That's what was going on. You're stealing people's money. You look at the description of your father, just like over and over and over again in a multitude of documents. Associate said, boom, 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 over and over and over again. You like to associate that with Navarro, but it's not just Navarro. It was over and over again. Hell, you just admitted that your father was a scumbag and a thief and a drunk, and probably beat you and probably beat your mom as well. But that's okay. That's the facts. But you want to confuse fact and fiction. But that's what gets you all twisted. But back to the whole Kennedy deal. Many people tried to associate with him that whole Lorenz deal. When she was interviewed, she tried to say Frank was in the car, my dad was in the car, all these other people were in this car, but my father wasn't in Dallas. My father was in Miami. And my father wasn't scared of no Edwin Kaiser. My father wasn't scared of nobody. So I don't know where Scott comes up with this memory from when he was 13 years old about what happened. I didn't have believe me, at 13 years old, I was having these conversations with my dad about stuff. We were living in Puerto Rico at the time, doing stuff down in Puerto Rico involving counterterrorism operations down there because there was some shit going on down there with those people down there. You can do whatever you want, Scott, because that's the truth.
All right, Scott, we're about out of time. You got any final words for Felipe?
Yeah, he's full of shit.
Wow.
You just plain and simple. You're full of shit. You're just like your old man.
Right. You're right. That's why my father's in books.
Finally, you agree with me.
Technical advisors on movies and articles, and people pay the money.
Finally, you agree with me on something.
Oh, my father wasn't full of shit.
Let me just point one thing out. Victor's father, Victor, my brother that I'm staying with right now, he was the priest or the pastor over M267, okay, the movement, okay? You don't know, don't make a face like you don't know what I'm talking about.
M2607. What's that?
No, I didn't say 07. I didn't say, see, you need to turn the volume up. You heard of the July 26 movement?
Yeah, 26th of July. Brigade 2506. Brigada 2507. That's it. 2506.
No te habla español si no tú puedes hablar, ¿ok? Porque tú se miras como un pendejo.
Okay. Back to name calling, Scott. Thanks.
Now, let me tell you something. Victor's father, who was there at the meeting in Miami, July 26th, knew if Frank Sturgis was there. Frank Sturgis had a lot more to do with fighting with Fidel than your dad. Your dad was there in Cuba, but ran like a little bitch like every time.
Right.
Okay? It was a big bitch, just like you.
Right. Right.
And if I was in that room, I'd kick you so hard that pork chops would fall out of the asshole.
Right. Right. Are you sitting in a booster seat? Is that a booster seat? How many telephone books are you sitting on, Scott? Is that a booster seat? You know that can's empty, too. You done drank all the shit out of it. Are you done? Because you're making all these promises you can't keep. That's like that's a children's chair, isn't it? Huh? Brigade 2506. What did 2506 do? What are they known for? You know? No answer. You mad, Scott? You stared at me? You in love? Is that what it is? You having a brain freeze?
I'm real terrified.
I'm not trying to make you scared. You're the one making all these threats. That you're going to do something, going to kick somebody hard. Pork chops are going to fall out their ass. I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't eat pork. Oh, it's landlord calling. Pay that rent. Hello? It's the CIA calling. Quit lying. Yes.
Hey,
hola.
Can I call you back?
No.
Can I call you back?
No.
I'll call you right back. Bye.
Is that Sonia?
Anything else you got to say?
Is that Sonia? I haven't talked to Sonia in a long time. Tell your mom I said hi. I haven't seen you in such a long time.
She remembers your dad. In fact, she's the one that kicked your dad out of the house.
Dude, I got my mom right here. I could see. My dad never lived with your family, ever.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, he did.
No, never happened.
Trust me, he did.
Never happened.
You still live with your mom?
No, my mom's right here on chat right now. She's watching this video, and she says, "You're a fucking liar. You're a fucking liar, and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about."
You have your mom right here. I thought you were gonna pull her out.
No, she's right here. She's on chat right now. Right here. I could ask her. What do you want to know? Because she'll fucking call you straight up a fucking liar. Maybe you're confusing my Uncle Robert.
Victor just reminded
me. Uncle Robert might live with you.
Hang on. Victor just reminded me about being at my dad's funeral and that your father and Frank was there. Okay? Right. So you're going to deny that too?
How would he be able to identify my father? How this guy be able to identify my father?
How can you not miss a big fat dude?
A big fat dude?
How can you not miss a big fat dude? Look at you. You're taking up half the damn camera.
Dude, that's all you got?
Go on to the next question.
I'm less than arm length away from my laptop, you fucking moron.
I'm done with this joker. He's a joke.
You were done from the get-go.
Joke.
Wow. That's what you
got.
All
right, Scott.
So I'm sorry it wasn't as entertaining as it was going to be because Scott can't conduct himself as an adult.
Okay.
Scott, let everybody know out there they can find your book. If they want to find out more about your story and your father's story.
No. Hey, Rob, do we got a number? Do you got a number that somebody can call in on right now?
I'm trying to get that book pulled right now because I've got another additional.
I'll get my mom on the line right now.
Pages. I got more than 50 pages that's added to my in father's story, providing facts. You know what that is? Documents, not just hearsay or interviews, Hemming, but these are actual documents. Everything that I've said about the Cadillac and about leaving Navarro's car in New York that you couldn't remember. See, you come up with these stories and then you ad-lib to what you think you hear what's going on, okay? Or you think you understand what you're reading, but you don't. You don't quite understand, okay? So you know, and I'm gonna prove that my father did work with Santos Traficante and Frank's did work with Santos Traficante.
Yeah, on the computer.
In fact, I've got documents that prove that Frank met up with Santos Traficante on Flagler Street.
What do you need?
So, let's get something straight here. Did my father ever live with the Kaiser family?
How would she know?
She was married to him for nearly 40 years, genius.
Downtown when I met him.
No, he's not in the 1970s. The 1970s. There you go.
Seriously, the 1970s we were married. We lived in, oh my God, we lived in Opalaca until, we lived on 2910 Southwest 19th Terrace. The kids went to Silver Bluff Elementary School with Angelo Kennedy's kids.
Who cares? I know you lived in Opalaca.
1970s was your father homeless, okay?
I never said that your father was homeless. I said
then why was he living with your family? Because he didn't.
You asked your mom that.
No, because he didn't.
Your mom that.
No, I did. She just said it never happened.
Wait. I think it had something to do with my dad asking your dad. Wait, now I remember. Ask your.
A land of his own, fantasy land. Your father never lived with anyone in the 1970s except Patricia Sullivan Hemming.
That's it.
I'm trying to explain something to you, Hemming.
We
My father went to your dad asking him if he would train the group.
We lived in Coral Gables.
All right, Mom, thanks.
Can you get your mom up for a minute? God damn. I'm trying to tell you. Okay, Mama's boy, are you finished?
No, not only my
father went to your father asking him.
Two people that turned down something and refuted what you did.
Asked Hemming to go ahead and train his men out in the Everglades. And because Hemming apparently knew something about parachuting, my dad introduced him or was going to bring him in to Frank Castro's parachute club. Okay, so my dad went to Hemming and asked him if he would train there. Okay. Hemming agreed, but thought that my dad didn't have enough men to train. So my father called the FBI and said he had FBI backing. Hemming didn't believe my father had FBI backing. So my father gives Hemming the telephone number to call the FBI. Hemming calls, but the agent wasn't there to answer. But the FBI did answer the phone call. So Hemming agreed to help train my father's group. Okay, because apparently he knew something about parachuting. So that was the time where he stayed at our house for an entire week, and my dad was going to introduce him, or maybe he did, to Frank Castro. I don't know. I have to ask Frank that, because Frank is still alive.
That's not what happened.
But that's when your father stayed at my house for an entire week. And then he went and ordered Ford Soldier. How would I know he ordered Soldier of Fortune magazine?
Finally, you make shit up all the time.
And then...
No, that's not what happened. Actually, there was an interview.
My mother told my father, this guy has to leave because he's not paying not helping any bills.
What in the history of history has a magazine ever been delivered to someone else after you've ordered it and lived in someplace for a week?
My mother.
Rob, you ever had that happen? You order a magazine and it gets delivered within 7 days?
When you have problems with a woman and you're living with her and she's your wife, you're going to listen to her. So he had to kick Fat Hemming out of the house.
This story that he's just explained, he's kind of right, really wrong. So this is what happened. My father was doing a parachute demonstration up at the current campus of Nova Southeastern University. CBS News was there. Dan Rather was there. Dan Rather wound up twisting his ankle because he participated in a parachute jump. These guys here from Cubanos Unidos show up, and that was it. They were done. The demonstration's over because these people have no business being here, so it's now over. That's what that situation was there.
The difference between me and you is that I provide documents, you provide bullshit stories. You can't back nothing up. I can back everything up. That's the truth. That's the honest to God truth. That's dead. That's right on bottom line, brother. I provide documents, you provide bullshit.
I brought an eyewitness testimony to tell you that it didn't happen. And how's that bullshit? That was unstaged, unscripted. Get her on the phone, verify that you're a fucking lying piece of shit, and so that's what it's about.
Because
it's like you fabricate shit all the time.
My father was doing the whole time. So how would your mother know?
Ripping people off, and beating you and your mom. That's what he was doing. He was doing too much of this. And ripping people off. That's what he's known for. FBI files say that. Navarro says that. All the people associated with him say exactly the same thing.
Tell this dude, Victor. You know what? This is the guy's pastor who was pastoring over Fidel Castro.
Dude, I've known Scott ever since we were 5 years old. His dad never laid a hand on his mom or him. So you
were there all the time. You were there the whole time.
You shut the whole time. Shut up, Hemming. Fat liar.
You're there the whole time.
Your dad never did.
You're there the whole time. Nice.
Okay.
Your boyfriend?
You know, let me tell you something about my father. My father.
Your boyfriend?
He wasn't a big man. He wasn't a big man. Okay.
See, you like big man there. You got a
but
big
I'll
man
tell you
right
one thing. He demanded respect.
Is that your big boyfriend?
Not a man in the world. Not a man in this world would get in front of him and disrespect him because he'd kick the shit out of you.
Right. Just like.
And that's exactly what he would do.
That's the only thing this guy has to say is that he claims that your dad didn't beat your mom and you.
I have Mike DePrazio on tape saying that. Now, you don't have to be big, small. I don't care what the size of you. That doesn't matter. You get in front of somebody you disrespect, that person, if he knows how to fight, he's going to kick the shit out of you. And I'll tell you one thing. Hemming, if you ever got in front of me, I would kick the shit out of you.
Anytime, any place,
I'm going to tell you that
anywhere.
right now. I'm exactly like my father, and I would kick the shit out of him.
Full of shit and a lying scumbag. Yay! We got to a point. Scott admitted that he's just like his dad, a fucking scumbag who tells bullshit stories, rips motherfuckers off, cheats on his old lady, is a fucking drunk, and that's what he does. You're exactly like your dad. Yay! We got something out of Scott. Scott admitted he's a scumbag like his dad. Yay! Is that what happened?
He ain't a man. He ain't a man.
All right, guys. Well, I think we got to a point here. We got some of it out here. People wanted to see it. I appreciate you both for joining me here live on YouTube today for the first ever live episode of the Gunman Podcast. Be on the lookout for Scott's book coming up, and hopefully you'll provide some documentation in that book about what you say. And Felipe, thank you so much for joining me.
Scott, I want to add something. My mom said she'd kick your ass. So I don't know.
Okay, mama's boy.
I'll be a mama's boy. I'm okay with that. No?
That's why
I'm okay with it. You can call me all the names you want, but you can't tell me that I'm fucking lying. You're a liar. Dude, you're full of shit. And the majority of people know that. You have some suckers, they're going to believe you, but you're full of shit. You don't know better.
And that's where we're going to have to leave it today, boys. I appreciate you joining me. Hopefully the viewers got what they tuned in for. I appreciate it very much. Thank you for joining me.
I apologize for this going completely the wrong way. I mean, I wish we could have gotten. I wish we could have gotten somewhere without these when we start talking about facts and what can be proven versus what can't be proven. Scott can't produce any documents that say otherwise. You can simply find anything that you want. This open book, the publication after publication after publication, going back into the early 1960s about my father's involvement in anti-communist operations, counter-drug operations, stuff like that. That's what it boils down to.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, appreciate it. It's been great talking to you. Thank you for joining me today. And thank you, people. This sumbitch is in the can, beamed up to the satellite, down directly to your ears. This is your boy. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Felipe.